Was there any work done to the flooring or anything?
Hmm?
Was there any work done to the flooring when that foundation was put under it?
The flooring, the subfloor and the floor stayed in place. They took out all of the stuff under it and put in all new.
Okay, was that insulated under there?
Is it insulated under there now? No, I don't believe so. No, that's not insulated under there
Yeah.
yet.
So that, the insulation will be looked at, I think, as the whole package, you know, because you can't just start and stop with that sort of thing. You can do it all at once. But the, I mean, we still keep talking about the same stuff. The stuff has been stored in there for so long, and there's no progress, you know, real progress being made. You know, we're inching along now, but you know, we got to make some decisions about all that stuff. We just can't hang on to all of it. I mean, the town's going to be after us for, you know, using up the what do you call it, the fire station. We can't store stuff there indefinitely. And we certainly can't keep storing it in the bullet house. It's not right, you know, because you know, contractors need to see what's there and what the floors are like. And we can't do that right now.
We're trying to work our way through getting some of that stuff out of there, but it's a limit to how much, when we don't have a place to go put it immediately. We throw it all out. We've got a lot of early 19th century woodwork in those doors that you want to throw out or get out of there. And we can probably move a fair amount of that to the fire station. But right now, the priority is getting out of the other place.
But we got to have a, you know, like a systematic plan in place that, okay, so the next thing we're going to do is you know, get this stuff out of this area and get that stuff out of that area. I mean, that back room is full of stuff that with the one with the ceilings all ripped out. That room is full of stuff, right? The mannequins, but I don't know what else.
Well,
Oh yeah, and that's
And that needs to be empty.
that is an area that we did take some collection stuff out of there last year, this year.
a little bit, yeah.
We've taken a number of boxes of collection stuff out of there and worked on that. And we can continue to try to do that. The big thing that's in there that we need a place for is the mannequins. And those are not used all the time, but when we need them, we need them.
Right, but when
I think that.
And I'm sorry, we're not throwing them all out.
we're, we talked about putting them maybe where that tiny bathroom was upstairs, making that a closet, and they would fit in there.
We've talked about making that into a closet.
Would they fit in there?
Probably.
But they can't, like I say, we can't have that in the house. Can't we move some of that stuff to the fire station until we, you know, to get the house emptied out? Can't we just,
Conceivably, we could move it to the fire station, but the fire station space is still iffy. They've got a leaky roof in the other side. I don't want to put stuff in that side. And there's furniture in the side where we've been putting stuff. If we can move some of that furniture into the other side, maybe we can get more in there and it'll work out fine
Yeah,
for us. But
I mean,
right now, there's not room to put all of that stuff there too.
we've got to have a plan and a timeline to get that stuff out of there. We do.
Why don't we work on the first floor? On emptying not emptying, but,
Well, we got a lot of stuff out of there already, thank goodness, but
well,
there's a lot more to go.
Yeah, but
I
there's
think-
more that we
I think
would
we
like to
should,
get out of there.
maybe if we could work on the first floor. We'll be getting the toilets out this week. Those two toilets.
Toilets, make a list, toilets,
Toilets.
the doors, and then we'll
The
figure out.
doors, whether or not our volunteers can
Yeah.
come over here
Yeah.
as well and take the doors.
But we need a list, like when somebody says, I'm available, we say, great, we're gonna move doors, you know. I mean, we just gotta do that.
Yeah, I know, but you know, when I rounded up this team, it took a while because the different parties have different schedules.
Yeah,
And,
I get that.
and it's a whole month of time that between when I rounded them up and when we could actually schedule. You know, that was the best I could do. If we have time, maybe we could get the doors over there on Saturday morning.
And we've continued to move some of the smaller things over there so that the amount of stuff we have to move that day will be less and stuff. We've continued to do that. But it's not magic.
Oh, I know that.
I don't, is there anything, even if it's not downstairs, now I'm negating what I said, but if there is a possibility of moving the doors, would that be one whole load? I can't seem to remember if that would fill up a truck.
Oh, yeah. Pretty well.
And
The doors and the mantles, maybe?
The doors and the what?
And the mantles?
maybe if we have both trucks available for one more go,
My truck is no longer available. It's on its last legs.
no, I don't
You
mean
told
your
us
truck,
about
I
that.
just mean Bob Blair has a truck and Dave Westerling has a truck, and if they both can stay for a second go, we could try to do the mantles. I don't know which ones, you'd have to be in charge of that.
There's only two, aren't there?
I think there are three.
That could be
Those.
moved, yeah. Okay, so I'll just put a question mark for mantles.
So that's, that and the wood, those are the biggest things that have to go, right? Did you get the filing cabinet out of there that was in that front room? What's in that?
I think we have to keep that there, don't we?
I'll turn you loose on the other offices of the Historical Society that insisted on putting that in there.
On what?
That insisted on putting that in there.
What's in it? I said, what's in it?
A variety of things. Most of what's in it I don't consider terribly important, but there's various things in it that they put in it. I'd have to go through it and see what's there that is important.
I mean, if the filing cabinet is in decent condition, I guess I would advocate for it to
It's a
stay there.
cheapie.
It's a cheapie.
I don't mean it's not at all usable, but compared to the ones we've got up here, it's
Yeah.
not that
I'll
good.
have a look at it. Tomorrow I have to work, but let's see in the morning. No, I can't.
Let's go on to other business.
Yeah, okay. So we'll do the best we can on Saturday.
Right, but we need to have a plan. Yeah, we can't, we keep talking about the same stuff and it's the same stuff still sitting there, so.
Well, why don't we then plan a time to
Do a walkthrough and say, this
to
is,
identify
yeah.
things. When would you want to do that?
I could squeeze time in on Mondays and Tuesdays, but I don't know which ones yet.
Well, when you, if we could do it in the morning, that would help me, because I really need to work several afternoons. So but you're not sure.
Not at the moment. I've got a couple of things pending that I
All right,
It's
well,
a moving
just let us know, send us an email, and then we'll just figure out which of those we can all do.
all right.
Okay. So That's it for board house issues and the sill, and we have to think ahead to a CPA app for a much larger project, the next project after the sills, which would include the foundation. Okay. And the town collection, I think we've already discussed that because that's gonna happen. We're gonna work more on that on Saturday morning.
The what?
The town collection
Is that the-
from room 113 to,
Yes.
That's the territorial issue.
yeah, and also not, we can't lose sight of making that app for the digitization
Mm-hmm.
of the existing inventories. And trying to figure out what that cost would be. I mean, I really don't have any idea the number of. I guess I need to, or Barry, if you're willing, sit down with those inventory books and make a. You know, maybe we need to take it in, maybe we need to take one book at a time and figure out how many items would need to be photographed, or decide to have photographed only certain items, only high priority items. You know,
Yep.
every little thing doesn't, you know, it has to be layered in terms of importance. That's how I think of it anyway. Because it's a huge, you know, I can,
To me, you get some money and you work on it for a while and see how much you get done with that money. And then you can begin to estimate what it's gonna take to do it all. I just don't know how else you can, because it all depends on who you got doing it and how fast they are and how knowledgeable they are.
Right, I mean, we don't wanna,
well, I
we
mean,
don't wanna spend hours on somebody who doesn't know what they're doing. I mean,
yeah, well, I've seen Marty shoot photographs, maybe, this is just shooting them, this is
Oh,
not
I know.
editing any defects
No,
or
it's-
anything like that, but you can shoot if someone is setting
Putting
it up
stuff,
for
setting
you.
stuff
Right.
up, yeah.
right.
You can shoot them pretty fast.
You can shoot them pretty fast, but then that's just the front end.
Right.
Then you've got all your computer work,
Right.
and then if you're gonna be
Oh, I
asked,
understand that.
you know,
I
so,
mean, one of the things that we've got extant is photos from, say, the last clothing exhibition. And we've got photos that we took in that exhibition that can be used as documentary photos for those dresses, and those are digital photos.
they're on a disc or,
No, there's some that are on a chip for the camera, and it
They're-
goes in my computer. I don't know, it probably won't fit this computer.
yeah, so they're
Because
born,
it's too
what they
new.
call it born digital, meaning that the origin is digital, but we have print copies.
Some of them we have print, I mean, then we have a set of prints that Edie's daughter-in-law took. I imagine she's got digital images for those. We have to ask whether Beth has got the digital images for those. But if she has, I mean, those are all pictures that have been taken, and it's hard to photograph clothing, you know, out of a box or on the table or something, if you've got it on a form or you've got it in an exhibited situation.
Yeah, it's very time consuming.
It's much better to use those photos. And those things could be, I mean, those are things that can be put, and then those items can be put in the computer.
Well, you want a hard drive, you know, dedicated hard drive, external hard drive.
Well, they're not now, but they
No,
may.
But you want them all in one place.
you
But
know,
anything you do, you got a lot of work to do
Well, any,
get it translated or get it into this computer.
Yeah. You can't get discouraged, you just have to
no, anything
make
worthwhile.
a skeletal plan and just start if we're given the money to do it. Because we've got to pay someone to do it.
And you've got to decide what your priorities, in other words, is getting the photo a bigger priority than getting the items listed and numbered and onto the computer?
Well, I didn't even get there that far in my thinking. I was just advocating that the printed inventories that we already have, those pages be digitized. So that we have a scan of those books.
Yeah,
Not just photocopies, but an actual digital scan. And then perhaps, I mean, you can either just go in order and photograph items one after another, or you can decide that certain things are more important than others and do it that way. So that
what are you gonna do with the photos?
they're not print. It's just a digital image.
Yeah.
These are the inventory.
And that goes along with the scanned
This is
inventory.
This is of the paper, the books that we saw at the
Yes.
last meeting?
Yes.
Yeah, that's just a digital scan, so you can print them at a later time if you need it, but it's available to be viewed.
Yeah. It's
If it's stored on one of those drives, that's a great way to store. I mean, you can store tons of stuff on those drives, and it's all in one place. And we had talked about having 2 drives, one for backup, just in case.
Yeah, also, you can get, depending on how you're gonna use these things, and if you've got volunteers that need to have access to that
How
information.
is that more useful than just having the book?
No, they're trying to digitize all the historical documents. I mean, all the towns are. It's because it's not accessible by everyone.
Most of your websites, not most, but many society websites have an online catalog
Yeah.
of documents, and that's been digitized in order to have that happen.
Right.
That's putting your information out there so it can be shared by other people who have the need to know or are doing research. I mean, you said you have a photocopy of the
Yeah.
2 printed inventories that we have, and that's good because that's some that's some
It's something
insurance.
if we have a
Yeah.
conflagration.
Yeah.
But
But
but I mean, I'm just trying to figure out what you gain by this.
Well, when you digitally scan, you get a lot more detail than you do with a photocopy,
Definitely, and the quality of the copies we've got, they're old and
and they deteriorate.
some pages, I've been looking at it a little, and some pages are not that great anyway.
Right, and with the digitization, nobody's handling anything physically, so it's not becoming more deteriorated.
Yeah,
also, you're making your information accessible
Right,
to the people it belongs to. I mean, it doesn't belong to us, it
Right.
belongs to everybody
Right.
in
Yeah.
Berlin,
I understand that.
and that's,
I mean, eventually you can
I
have,
just don't know how useful those things are gonna be to the general public.
well, you'd be surprised. Like I say, I do this website for this little association that we have, and the photographs that I have of the gravestones in the earliest cemetery,
Mhm.
that's the most popular thing on the website. And it's
Oh.
mostly historians.
Gravestones and genealogists, yeah.
But there's so many people, it's such a broad bunch of people that are interested in that stuff. And you'd be surprised if it's out there, they're gonna find it. They're gonna, people are searching for stuff all the time. And I've been stunned at the things you can find instantly online, the information you can get. If you know the right way to ask for it. And it's, well, I check other town historical sites all the time, and it's mind-boggling, the stuff they have available for people to look at. It's wonderful.
I've
If
looked
you
for
can't get
stuff.
there.
I look for
Yeah.
stuff sometimes.
And we, it shouldn't be closed off, people should be able to, like this week, we could
But
have,
you also have to get it up online too. You've also gotta get it into that form. when it's
Well,
up
that's
online.
that's not as big a deal. It's the digitization that's the big deal.
Yeah, but we actually just, I know this is off the topic here, but we have a volunteer, Rebecca Von Geldern, who is anxious to work on
Put stuff on the website.
a website for the society,
Good.
and a Facebook page for the society. And so we have hope of,
Yeah, we gotta do the basic stuff first, though.
yeah, well, she'll do other things
Mhm.
that don't demand this kind of,
Detail.
yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so, the demolition delay, we don't have anything.
No, I had one this week that was one of those 1970 raised ranches that they're putting an addition on the back of a house, and there was no real demolition in it with the exception of, changing rooms inside to attach to the new one, and so I passed that through as something that there's not any demolition involved that is a significant issue at all. And while the house is just about the 50 years old, I don't think it's one that we'd be concerned about anyway.
We will be having a demolition permit put in front of us for 65 Walnut Street. It's
Oh, yeah.
the greenhouses that are now owned by Abby Dewick and Mary Porter.
Oh, I knew there was something afoot. I didn't,
Yeah,
Right.
I had a call from Mary, and June and I had talked about it, and they bought the property. They're wanting to demolish the parts of the building that they had people living in, which were nothing special at all.
Yeah.
And most of it wasn't even 50 years old. At least some of it isn't. But the greenhouses are not in great shape either. Even the older, it would be great if one of those old greenhouses would survive, but Mary says that the condition of the wood and all is not good.
it costs more to restore
It's
it.
not gonna be at all
And
practical.
they're huge.
They're big, yeah.
I went there, and Marty took photographs, or started to take photographs anyway, and Mayor,
I mean, some of those greenhouses are 100 years old and more.
Yeah. That was the Bartlett's, right? Wasn't it Bartlett's?
it was
No,
Harris.
it was Fields.
Field,
Oh,
Harris,
Fields.
yeah.
It was Tolman's, and then before that it was Fields, and before that it was Brewer. It was Faith's grandfather that had greenhouses there, I believe, first.
Well, any old pictures? No, any old photographs?
I haven't seen old photographs of those.
Um,
That's something that's a good point, because that's one we need to ask Faith about when she gets back from Maine.
She's back.
Oh, she is back?
Yeah, I'm gonna try to see her on Saturday.
Well, ask her if she's got anything,
Yeah.
old photos of those. That's a good point. I mean, we can take photos now. They went up and took some, but it would be great to have some older photos of that. And we can talk to those other families a little bit, see what it might be too.
What about the Brownfields problem? Isn't that all contaminated?
It seems to be not as bad as maybe thought. Mary has some fair experience dealing with that stuff, and she has all the reports that were done on it, and she said based on what she's read and what they've actually done in sampling and stuff, she's not really too worried about it.
Good.
I mean,
What are their plans?
hmm?
What are their plans?
They want to build a couple of small houses for themselves. in close proximity.
Sort of cottage type.
But I think we need to leave that to them to do before we put a bunch out to the public about it.
Yeah,
They've got to, they've got a lot of town boards and stuff to deal with, and I don't wanna talk about it a lot
No,
before
no,
they've had a
no.
chance to
No.
do their presentations with people that have to deal with it much more than we do.
this is very hard to see, but Mary gave me some aerials. This is 1939,
Yeah,
and you can see
the greenhouses.
2 long greenhouses and then a smaller one here.
Yeah.
And there's Pam's house, I think.
No.
No,
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 where's
no.
Pam's house?
Oh, no, this is the railroad.
yeah.
This is the railroad.
Pam's house would be up here, wouldn't it?
No.
Oh, is
No,
this,
the
is this
This
greenhouse
is the
is-
road over
No,
here.
Pam's house
That's
should be
Pam's house,
right
yeah.
here,
Oh, okay, on this side. Okay.
yeah. And in,
We see the railroad and we think road, and it's not it.
this is a instrument survey from 1967. And basically, these are still there, but this one is, the garage is just trash. Okay, what they're calling the garage is pretty much trash.
And that's the part they wanna tear down first.
And this greenhouse here that really almost touches the edge of the road
Yeah,
is the one that has the most intact glass that they would like to preserve.
save the glass.
Save the glass, yeah.
We wanna try to save
Yeah,
the glass.
this one is a mess,
Yeah,
and this one is too.
yeah.
That one's not as old as the one out by the street.
These two are old.
Right.
This one is not.
No,
Yeah,
no.
that's right. This one is not. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then this is 1995. Yeah, if I put it this way, it's easier for everybody.
So is that walnut?
Yeah, this is walnut, yeah. And you can still see the two extended.
Yeah.
This looks a little different here. Maybe there was a little add-on there. And that's the living quarters. Well, that's the garage. Living quarters here.
Yeah, I haven't gone up to look at it since
Yeah.
since we've got this in our minds.
Yeah. So we can, we could, if you're interested, Mary would be happy for us to go and have a look as a group, if you want to.
Yes, yeah, we're welcome to go up
Yeah.
and view the stuff as a group, and but I tend to be of the opinion that, there's no practical, reasonable way to talk about preserving anything there, other than saving
Yeah.
fragments of glass or whatever.
They'd like to preserve the chimney,
Yeah, they'd like to keep the chimney.
but that's gonna be hard because of where it's located. It's like right in the, right at the edge of that building that needs to go. It's right behind there. In fact, in order to look at the base of the chimney, which is big, you can't really step out of the residential part safely in order to have a good look at it. It's really pretty. It's a mess. Yeah. But
Yeah,
anyway.
it's tough, but I mean,
But they don't have a contractor yet, but when they do, then they'll be applying for a permit, and then
we'll have to deal with it.
yeah,
So they own it.
they own it, yes,
Yeah,
they
they
own
own it,
it.
and
Since June, I think.
when they ask for a demo permit, we have 2 weeks from the time it comes to us to meet on it and decide whether it is significant or not. And we'll have to make that decision. If we decide it's significant, then we hold a public hearing. If we don't decide it's not significant, then we can release it and they can go on. And sometimes we can release something based on the fact that we have an assurance that some feature is going to be saved or whatever, whatever we can come up with. I don't know. But I don't think that, that is one of the early greenhouses in the town. And boy, that's been a big business in Berlin for a long, long time. A lot of different growers. But I don't know how you could practically hope somebody was going to preserve any of it.
Well, you'd have to look at it, I think, to feel okay about
Yeah.
having it go.
Their intent is to completely redevelop the property in a different fashion. But it's only
It's 1.8
1.8 acres or something.
Yeah,
It's not
it's
even,
less than 2 acres.
it's less than 2 acres. It's basically one building lot in Berlin. So,
I'm just glad it's them.
Right, absolutely.
Because
Oh, yeah.
they
yeah.
really are thoughtful about
Yeah.
what they do.
and Mary's got a lot of experience with stuff enough so that some of the difficulties of the site, she's not put off by.
Right.
Just want to make sure that everyone is comfortable with having this open house. I think some of us are a little discouraged by the COVID restrictions, but I'm willing to go forward if
I think it's a great idea, and I think that, it's October, it's 2 months away. We don't know where we're gonna be with COVID. If it stays hot that long, we may wanna reconsider it when we get closer to the time.
Yeah, because they're
But
talking that
at this time, my view is forge ahead, and I'm hopeful that things are gonna cool down again once we get past the tourist season.
Yeah, no, there is a possibility of a slump in it, I guess.
Yeah. And we could be back to where we were a couple of months ago, and things could be a lot better by then, but right now, we just have to work very cautiously again. Take a step or two back and see how it goes.
I made a quick list of things that could be, stations that could be in that open
Okay.
house. I really wanted to take a nap, but I forgot.
I'm sorry, what station?
Stations
For the open house.
for the open house. And one was definitely to have a table for the society, so they could have some membership information, and also we can have a little slideshow there for people to sit down and look at if they want to. Marty has dozens of images of meetings.
Mhm.
He often didn't listen to the meetings that much, but he
No.
always took
Took pictures of it.
took pictures. And these go way back to 2004. And it's just something, because you see your friends and you see so many people who aren't with us
Oh,
anymore,
I know.
you know.
Yeah.
And they're fun to look at. I looked at a few of them because Marty has he's bought another little Chromebook just to better organize certain folders over the years. And the Chromebook is just to delete, because when you first become a digital photographer, you take too many of the same, and he's got to edit all of that. So anyway, I'll get a chance to
And I've got oodles, were you here? No, you weren't here in 2000.
no.
2000, we did a 50th anniversary of the society program upstairs, and a whole bunch of pictures of exhibits and different events and stuff that we had before, years before. And I've got lots of pictures of case exhibits and different subjects and stuff that we've done over the years. which, might be worked into some
Yeah,
of that.
yeah, it could be on some
And
people.
especially if you wanna go back a little further and get some stuff that
Yeah.
wouldn't be included in that.
Let's see, this is a different. Where's my list? Oh, here it is. So definitely the society has an opportunity to have a table and some fun things to look at. And then we could have information specific to the Bullard House, to what we're trying to accomplish. We can have our preservation plan out there. Any, maybe some artifacts that I've cleaned up.
And some pictures and
Some
things.
pictures.
Some stuff people haven't seen would be nice,
Yeah,
you know.
I don't think they've seen any of the artifacts that I've cleaned up.
Probably not.
I mean, they're not treasure, but it's all about the information,
Right.
I don't know if you want to have anything about the Hearst House or not. I guess
Well,
we'll think about that.
we'll think about it. If we can, it would make sense to
Yeah.
include it.
Yeah. And then we need, perhaps there'll be like a half an hour if anyone's interested in going over to the curatorial building, just to
Oh, yeah.
peek inside there, because it's gonna be right
Oh, yeah.
there. Because not that many people have seen that,
Well,
you know.
a lot, we had the society there, we had a meeting in it when it was empty,
Yeah,
but to see it with stuff in it, very few people
Yeah.
have seen it with things in it.
if we have enough energy and time, we could set up something in Memorial Hall. 19 Carter, I can put together a display of some of their, I mean, they're all in my house. All the artifacts that were drenched up from the rubble,
Oh, okay.
yeah. And we could have some mystery objects, people like to guess what they
What
are.
is it? Yeah.
Yeah, I think, I'm not sure. I'm the one to work on that, but we need something for children, things that they can handle. I don't know about clothing, whether we have some dress-up clothing that could be, that Edie would feel all right about.
I don't, that,
I don't know.
I'm not happy with
No.
that idea. That doesn't mean there isn't something that could be done, but,
Maybe the hats.
yeah,
They could have fun with some of the hats that we're
and,
interested in keeping, or,
some less choice hats.
Right.
Yeah,
Mm.
some less choice hats, we might be able to. I mean, one of the things, we really have
I know.
a surplus
I
of
know,
hats.
I know.
And I know that we've got a real pile of stuff from the 1950s and 60s. And because we got them from several different people, and there's no way we,
Everybody,
ultimately, at some point, we need to
hats
sort
hats
those
and
out
gloves.
and make some choices about what we keep long
Yeah,
term.
yeah.
And we want to keep something from different people as well as
Right.
from
Right.
different things, but we don't need 17 hats from that period from one person, so we may have to make
Yeah.
some choices there.
We did have kitchen utensils that you could actually operate.
Mm-hmm.
We did that
Mhm.
for an old home day. We did it 2 years in a row. The second year was more elaborate.
Mm-hmm.
I brought more things, and we could. Those things belong to me. As long as the children are safe and someone is there to help them, I don't care how much they're handled. Because children really need hands-on things.
Right.
Yeah,
The no-touch thing is not
Right.
not
and
helpful.
the what's cranking business, there may be something in that too, the stuff that we had
Well,
at one of our things up there.
Edie brought her cabbage chopper to the last old home day that we had,
Oh, yeah,
and she might be willing to
yeah,
let us use that again.
use things like that again.
Yeah.
But that's,
Do you have any other things that you can think of right off that you'd want to have at the open house, any other stations?
Well, one thing I do is this. The weights and measures.
Have a, like
Oh,
a
is that-
demonstration?
Is that what's in there?
Yeah. Sure. I guess I'm gonna get in the way of you, but.
Oops. Did you wanna come around and let people
That's
see?
all right.
Just to get the,
Nah,
well, I mean, no?
Too much,
Just so people can see it from the
he'd
meeting?
have to move his whole,
yeah.
Okay, you hold
Don't
right.
worry about it.
Okay.
But that, that's always good, and it's a station, and it's a thing that we've got in here all the time.
Yeah, who was in charge of that?
Hmm?
What would the person be in charge of that?
What would a person,
Who would the person be in charge of that?
like,
oh, we can set somebody up.
No, I'm saying originally, when it was being used.
Oh, the sealer of weights and measures. Officer of the town, sealer of weights and
Oh,
measures.
they were, okay, it wasn't a state thing, it was in the town?
It was a state thing. The state, the great thing is that they passed a law in 1847, that the town was to provide a set of weights and measures and blah, 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 and have an officer that did this. Unfunded mandate. The towns rebelled. In 1848, they passed an act saying the state would provide to each town. And that's what this is the set that was provided to Berlin in 1848.
Yeah,
And they provided them to all the towns, and as towns came in later, they provided them to them. But you find them all over the state, because when the state finally gave up that system and took over doing most of that themselves again,
yeah,
the towns, as we did, wrote to the state, you said, you want to turn that over to the town? The state said, yes, goodbye. And so we got that turned over to the historical collection then, and we had stored in a little room up in back of the stage for about 20 years until when they moved out of here, and we brought it back down again.
yeah.
And
So this is where it was kept?
hmm,
This is where it was kept?
this is,
This is where it was kept?
yeah, it was in this room. In fact, it used to sit into the corner further, and it was over here until somebody came and moved it recently. We will leave that nameless. It suddenly ended up over here again now, but, because I liked it there, because you could see it from the hallway when you opened it up.
Yeah.
But,
It drew people in, I know that.
Oh, yes, it does, and it just, but, in terms of, if you're gonna have a bunch of stations of things, well, it's kind of an obvious thing to have. And there's a few more items that go with it that you
To adjust it.
can put with it too. This is one of my favorites. Which is a traveling scale. Traveling scale.
wow,
And set it up, and you can,
portability.
so you can have a balance to test weights and compare things and so forth. So, and you put a few of these things out to go with it, and there are also, those are liquid measures.
Mhm.
And there's a whole set of liquid measures down in here that are heavy, I want to say iron, but I'm not sure what the material is. And they even complete with a piece of glass that's used to make sure that it's level and not
Yeah.
bulging with surface tension.
Interesting.
The variety, there's great stuff in the whole thing. So it's a great thing. If you're having something in the town hall and
Yeah,
like this, it's a perfect day to show this. And some people have seen it and don't care and whatever else, and it doesn't occupy all afternoon, but it's good for 10 minutes. And
Okay, that's good.
that's one that's kind of obvious anytime you're opening here in this building.
Okay. I think we went over the CPA
Yes,
progress
yeah.
okay already. And the other business, the most important thing is setting our calendar, because we didn't do that.
Well, I'm gonna say something else about CPA though.
Okay,
Wouldn't you have a CPA station as part of that open house?
oh,
It's not historical alone, but it's all kinds of other stuff, and it's a good chance to
maybe get people's opinions.
get people's opinions about things, and also get people just more knowledgeable. I mean, invite the CPA committee to kind of set up and talk to people for public information. Does that make sense?
Yep,
Well, I think that's what they're having the hearing for.
Yeah. Yeah, but if we're having this thing in October,
information,
it still is more information about it, and maybe getting people excited.
Well,
I mean,
maybe
it may
if they-
get people excited about open space instead of historical, but that's fine.
Right, and maybe they could have the applications there, the pre-apps and the apps.
Yeah,
that would be good.
That would be,
yeah. And help people understand more about what kinds of things could be applied for.
Okay,
So that would be, I would think that would be a good thing. I mean, it's timely, and it certainly has a relationship to our area of interest.
yeah, it's not all land acquisition.
No. And
and
this
preserve what we've got, right?
this format, June, is such that you can have things that are a little different. It
Yeah.
doesn't have to be exact in terms of connection, things that would excite people. And if we're doing something like that, we'll get some other people that come that might spread the word and get broader interest, you know? Any of these things that we get some other people involved with, I think it would be good.
So our calendar,
Our calendar, yes.
so we have to decide on, try to decide on a meeting time,
That we hope we
September.
can do most every
yeah,
month,
September through
June.
June. So we did mention that in September, we might want to meet a little, that this time of the month is better, which is a little earlier than we had originally.
The second week instead of the third week is probably a good idea for June, just because, I mean, for September, because we want to get close to that public hearing date.
Is there a calendar handy?
No.
Let me look in my pocketbook,
This one in here.
maybe on my phone.
I usually use my phone.
He's got it on his phone. He's more techno savvy than we are.
Yeah.
How did you get that on your phone?
It's an app.
Okay. It comes in the phone?
Yep.
Okay, I'll have to look for mine.
I had one in my other phone, but did anybody see what I did with my pocketbook?
Is it just a little thing?
No, it's
Oh, it's right behind you.
it's a beat up backpack.
Excuse me.
Okay, well, this will get us through 21 anyway.
There you go.
Okay, so is it Tuesday that you want to continue to meet?
Well, Monday, Tuesday is your better days, right?
Right, but, this is always Kyle's Tuesday, the second Tuesday.
Oh,
Oh, yeah.
well,
So,
You
we
wanna-
either meet in person or Zoom it, and however. I
we
can't-
may be
I won't able
required, we may be required to do
do
both
Zoom.
next time.
Yeah.
I don't know if you read that. We were allowed just to meet in person this evening because we had already scheduled it.
Have we actually gotten a notice that we can't continue to meet in person?
It has to be hybrid. You can continue to meet as the
That's
way
why
I
you were here
understand
tonight,
it,
right?
the
Yeah, I guess
reason,
so.
we can still meet in person, but we need also to have Zoom.
Oh,
I
So this
haven't
is
seen any
cable.
notice to that
Yeah.
effect.
Well,
Or it's just an edict from
there's
the
an
from
email, perhaps we should all read it one
I
more
think I
time.
have it.
But I asked special permission for us just to meet in person because I couldn't face
changing it.
trying to add the Zoom, and as it worked out, both Zoom channels were being used at this time tonight, so they
They
couldn't,
didn't have a Zoom to use.
yeah, they couldn't accommodate us anyway.
Delivers from that thing.
I know. So, we could meet later, we could meet at 7:30 if that would help you, because we can still meet in person.
I'm sorry, what time?
We could meet at 7:30 if a little later would help you on a Tuesday.
His meetings are over at 8 o'clock. He runs a tight meeting, 7 to 8. So if it's that same night, that's still not gonna be.
Well,
What-
today's,
What about the 10 o'clock in the morning or whatever?
that works. If you want, the second Tuesday is the 14th. The first Tuesday is the 7th.
I don't, like I say, my calendar for Mondays and Tuesdays, I'm not sure. Those are the only days we're not open now. We've just come off a month of being open every
Oh, I
day.
know.
So, I don't know what my Mondays and Tuesdays are. We've got a lot of stuff going on, and
Okay.
I thought, we were doing Wednesdays. We did Wednesdays consistently for quite some time, didn't we?
Yep.
We did that for a while, yeah.
And when I first started with the commission, was it Wednesday evenings? Or was it Thursday evenings? I don't remember. I'd have to go back and look.
Well, it used to be Mondays, didn't it? Well, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, but.
Mornings, I will say for me, mornings are okay. And evenings are okay. Afternoons are harder. So if you wanted to go back to the 10 o'clock in the morning, that would be easier to include the Zoom because they don't have a big demand.
Yeah, that's, Wednesday evenings are not good with the town. The
No.
town has too many things on Wednesday evenings. And Monday evenings are pretty heavy too.
Right.
So,
And Wednesdays aren't any good for you, June?
Wednesday evening?
Mornings?
Wednesday morning is okay.
Yeah. Why don't we do that? That I know I'd be around for.
Wednesday morning would be okay.
So that would be the 8th of September if you want to do the second Wednesday.
Yeah, that actually works fine. That was what we were doing.
September 8th at 10 o'clock.
Yeah, yeah.
And then you want to keep to the second Wednesday in October, which would be the 13th at 10 o'clock.
Yeah. So we're gonna do them in person until somebody tells us different. Is that what we're doing?
Yeah, but also I'm pretty sure, unless I misread it, that I'm going to have to figure out the Zoom also.
Okay.
But we'll have to have.
I want to lick my fingers.
We just have to have a,
We just have to have a laptop there
Yeah,
with it on
yeah.
it, that's all.
Um, Okay, this is the notice.
October 13th.
Town boards and committees are strongly encouraged to resume or continue meeting virtually whenever possible. Face coverings will have to be worn at all in-person meetings in town buildings. Contact Mary or Leanne for Zoom meetings. Margaret will be a backup. So, see. All of the requirements are being reinstated in all the common areas, the face masks and all that. Town buildings, the town vehicles occupied by more than one person.
So this was the new notice in the last week,
Yep,
a week or so ago?
August 5th.
Okay.
Employees and visitors to town buildings will be allowed a short time to ease back into this
Right.
practice
I remember reading that.
with warnings only, but we will have to enforce the mandate should COVID positivity continue to increase. And the rest is all about our meetings. So,
So that
So
first
she's
sentence,
encouraging.
strongly encouraged, is that right?
strongly encouraged to resume/continue meeting virtually wherever possible.
Well,